Well, hello, dragon family. Rhea coming to you live here in For the Love of Dragons. It is Thursday. It's just after noon, and I know you guys, I missed you last week, but I was up in the mountains, and that's sort of what I want to share about today. I have been having so many more amazing experiences, and we talk about fun ones where you're meeting dragons or recognizing dragons in the land, and really starting to walk in that heart flow. When we're merged with ourselves, we are in a space to be in alignment with all that is, with our heart desires opening up before us and directly manifesting. Interestingly, that's really the focus of what we do in our Quantum Flight program. The way the Dragon Heart program that has slowly evolved into this 8-week quantum leaps every week. I just sent out, I get to spend the morning always doing things in aligned timing. So I talk often with you guys about being in flow, doing it when your heart says yes, not when your mind says to. And I thought I would be doing the newsletter yesterday, and I just never felt it. Never, just wasn't aligned, was feeling rushed, was like, no, this it's not the right energy. So very interesting, when I woke up today, I had thought, well, I'll push it to tomorrow morning, and sure enough, I was in the space. I was in the zone of inspiration, and hopefully if you're on the newsletter list, you'll get it today and read about how this Quantum Flight group has come together, the one that's starting in September. And I am still opening applications. I'm taking them now. It's been a very different journey with this one, and I know it's because of the work we're moving into, it's shifting. We are now opening the top-down levels of connection with all the different dimensional realms into the new earth that we've created, the new earth fifth dimensional perspective realm that we have opened and accessed. That's been the work up till now with all of my groups and other groups around the globe that are doing similar pieces to access and open us into that place. Well, we've done all the work from the bottom up. It's open. We're walking in it. We're moving into it. I'm going to share some stories shortly about that. But this group unexpectedly came in and is about the full connectivity of that realm that we've opened with all the dimensional realms that are in the higher octaves to that. We might have assumed or never even thought about the fact that they need to connect in and be fully bridged in. And I was shown that that's why this group has come together really magically, and I shared the story of that in the newsletter today. So look for that. If you're not on the newsletter list, I don't send them out often, just when there's big stuff going on, events you don't want to miss, or new classes, or new guided meditations, whatever on the site available. Just go to the homepage, dragonwithin.com. At the bottom, you can sign up for the newsletter, and you just have to click opt-in, yep, add me to that. I promise I'm not one of those that inundate, because I hate that more than anything. I unsubscribe from a lot of stuff when I'm just getting too many things. So anyway, that stepping into who you be, what it does, and what has really started unfolding in my life. And hopefully all those that have been in my programs, there's one now, hi Giselle, is that ability to be fully merged with who you be. To know what you're here for, to know what your actions are coming from the heart, what you want to lead into, what you want to lean into, what you want to manifest in your journey. And it becomes really magical, and it becomes what people call synchronous or aligned. And for me, I had a real evidence. I missed you guys last week because the first part of the week I was camping with Cub Scouts, doing a real mom thing with my youngest. And we had a great time up in Camp Lassen doing that. But then I had an opportunity. I try to do one backpacking trip every summer with my hiking partner from childhood, who some of you guys know we did the Tahoe Rim Trail over 7 years together. And then we did 2 sections of the John Muir Trail over the last 2 years. And this year we went back to Desolation Wilderness just for a short 3-night stint. But it was the place we stayed on the last night of the Tahoe Rim Trail where I realized you could hike Mount Tallac from there. And it was also the region that for years I've been hiking up there and never got to the right vantage point, that from a section of the Tahoe Rim Trail, I was finally able to see the 2 dragon guardians of the lake from that side. So I wanted to be back in the area went up and stayed at a place where on the backside of, we have one of our highest peaks around Tahoe, Lake Tahoe area, is called Mount Talac. And it's 98, 99, I think the peak is 9,900 feet. So just under 10,000. And it's a big one that a lot of folks hike in the winter to ski it. So they hike up with all their gear and they ski down. That always seemed like way too much effort for me. But when you hike it from the backside at this lake where we had stayed before, it's a much shorter, like is a third of the distance round trip than from doing it as a full 9-mile day hike, which is like 3,000 feet of elevation gain. Just, you know, great for young people, and something that I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to take the easy route. It was still a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. It was still like straight up. But the story I want to tell is about this 4 days, specifically Mount Talac. But what unfolded and what I noticed is because of the space that I'm living in, with that open heart, knowing what I want to do, feeling in the flow, and letting things pop in or pop out as they need to, there was still worldly stuff going on, you know, the multiple tents in certain places that were popular and this and that. But the flow of the 4 days, my friend started making comments about how, gosh, just divinely guided it felt, how in grace and flow everything was, with timing, landing somewhere, getting a tent up, and then the downpour coming, just having all these remarkable things happen, whether it was no bugs, perfect timing, like I got to climb Talac with just enough cloud cover as the sun came up. I started hiking at 6:30 to not be hot, was divinely woken up at that hour and said, go now, which led to other things later that day. So it was about being not only inspired, but aligned. And that's the whole goal of the programs that I teach, is for you to come, for those that are dragon particularly, is why they're all dragon related programs, because I am dragon, you guys know that. And most of you that come on and find this are, or dragon rider of some sort. But the story about the mountain I love, because it's that gentle reminder we need to always be walking in with an open heart of connection to all that is. And you may not even realize or believe this is possible at this point, but there are so many living beings around you that you can communicate with and start opening, practicing with your telepathic body opening rather than your clairs. Let's bypass those and just go for the full signal. So I got that hit. Obviously, something inside me knew the flow of the day. And so I woke it up at like 6:30. And it was 3 hours before I was planning to go on the hike. My friend decided she was too tired and didn't want to go up. Because we had about 4 miles to hike in the afternoon after that to get out and have a short day the last day. So something inside me said, oh, you know, it's cool. I'll get up and go now. I was like, yep, I feel rested. I'm going to do it. So I got on the trail literally at 6:35, threw on my stuff, threw on my boots, and I was out. And I was walking in the shade because the sun wasn't up, and it was cool, beautiful temperature. The flowers, hitting the flowers in late July is an amazing feat. Just abundant everywhere, all the way up the mountain. Stunning flower displays. And so the very surprising thing was that I was going up and I started opening my heart and field of, okay, are there dragons in this area? Because that's typically what I tune into first. And I did feel like, you know, this mountain is so big and strong, and I feel like I want to connect to the spirit of the mountain in particular. And I was asking about dragons first. I was feeling into dragon energy first, because many mountains are actually dragon or parts of dragon. And I've seen them in mountain ranges, been on them, connected with them in that way. But this, I was tuning and felt like, wow, this is the mountain, and it was so strong. And I kept leaning into that and saying, you know, I would love for you to share your strength with me on this hike to get up this steep ascent, and allow me to just connect into your strength. And it was so smooth, and boom, boom, boom. I was up really quickly, great pace. And I'm, you know, I'm not in shape this year, admittedly. I have been remiss in my workouts. So we were both in much worse shape this year for hiking with all the weight, 40 pounds on your back, you know. So the beautiful thing was that I reached out and I just said, you are an impressive mountain. You are such an impressive being with such strength. And immediately this response came, and I could feel her turn her full presence to me. And she said, which took me by surprise, she said, "And you are an impressive human." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And she said, "Well, many, many tread up my paths. They walk on my back. Very, very few even recognize that I'm here, let alone reach out and communicate with me." And for me, it was this magical moment of feeling her joy in being seen and heard. I think there are so many beings around us, whether they're tree spirits or fairies or spirits of the rocks, dragons, that when we don't walk with our intention and our heart open in that way, every moment of our path, we're missing so much. And we're moving into communal harmonic. That is part of our community. That is part of our communal. And they are higher vibrational beings. They have lots to share with us. And we can learn so much from them, but also just enjoy that sense of community or connection. Even when we're, quote, alone, there's no other humans around, even maybe not even animals around, but it's how we start to live. And so I like sharing these stories, and there is a dragon involved, so I will bring that in. But even when they're not associated with dragons, I like to share them because our goal is to be living in that alignment. That's the entire reason I do all my teaching and programs, is to get one merged with themselves, solar body, light body merge, where you have that open heart, you have that piece of connection, and you start to recognize the joy and the magic that is our birthright, that is our natural state. And so when she responded with that, there was just this joy. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to throw out the question. Is there a dragon on this mountain? Because I'm sensing a little bit, there's a touch of dragon energy somewhere, but I can't specifically pinpoint it. And she just sort of had this snickery, grinnish energy and said, "You'll have to wait and see." So I climbed all the way up to the summit, and I got to the end of where the trails fork, and it's another maybe a quarter-mile scramble up to get to the top, and it's all these beautiful shale, really spiky rocks, beautiful deep red brown, and the sun was just crusting, but I was still in the cool because of the clouds. And then I realized, I said, "Oh my goodness." It was right near the top. I realized, like, oh, it's a baby dragon. But the beautiful thing was, because it was baby dragon, it wasn't like part of the scenery. It wasn't part of the landscape of having been there eons and eons, holding a specific station. It had come and was still awake and very much connected to be with this mountain spirit and have people climb on its back and experience that. Because a lot of people do climb up there for sunrise or, for whatever view, whatever time of year. And so it was very cool to connect with one of the much smaller dragons that I've been in association with or experienced out in the wild. Much smaller. It reminded me about the size of the one I shared the story with from Sedona years ago, when there were two brother dragons, one much younger, much smaller, that I needed to activate and awaken. And then as soon as I did, their mom joined in, like from an outer realm. It was an amazing thing. That's back in, look for the Sedona, like type in Sedona on the YouTube channel to find that one if you want that story, if you like these stories. But this little dragon, I felt like his name was Jackson, and or Jax, and I just had a lovely, just sweet connection and visit with him while I was sitting on his back, enjoying the incredible view of Lake Tahoe and the surrounding mountains that surround it. It was stunning. The scenery in every direction was stunning. I was above most of the passes that are even hikeable there. So just wanted to share that little story to have that reminder. Are you walking out with that big open heart? Are you even aware or at the place where you feel you're merged with your dragon, where you're, or if you're not dragon, and we do have some people that watch these that are other types of beings, whether they're unicorn as their lineage or maybe Lyran, winged lion, some are hybrids. Having that space of full awakening into self that is burgeoning up and through us. We're in that zone now. We are eminently in the space of our ascension. And so these little reminders to be in that conscious space, to come more and more into the now moment, is so critical for your leaps forward. And yeah, the design of the program, if you know you have a heart call, I put that in the newsletter today for the quantum flight, that's what we focus on. But that sphere is also a specific group of people that is being called together by a heart pulse that I send out, that know they're part of that work, that it's both what they receive and what as a group they give and create, that is part of the bigger picture. But you know, there's many more amongst our family that gentle reminder of like, hey, is your heart open when you're walking down the street and communicating with whatever beings are around you? Is it open when you're out in the woods? Is it open when you're in the park? How many reminders do you need to be in here to listen and know to those little cues of, yep, it's time to leave now, or let's stop here. And all of a sudden you realize like it's because you had time to set up a tent before the downpour came, or to hear that, I should grab my umbrella today, but there's no clouds around, just grab it. All of those little hints, your intuition speaking to you, the more you use it, the more it develops, and the more in tune you become with that greater energy body around you. So that's the main thing that I wanted to share today. It was a fun, beautiful adventure in the mountains with so much alignment. I don't like to use the word synchronicity anymore, because that implies something outside of myself that's creating it. And it's really, we're the ones creating the script. We're the ones writing the play. And the more aligned you get into that, where you are the script writer and the actor at the same time, you get to align it to what you want to be living, and it becomes pure magic. So sending out just that little sweet reminder of what space are you in? How conscious are you being? And if you want to talk about that more, or you have questions about that, you can email me. You can sign up for a free discovery call. You might be feeling drawn to do an application for the Quantum Flight program. Whatever you need, reach out, because that's why I'm here. And I enjoy coming in and sharing with you guys. I love seeing when there's people on. I know that the majority have moved to watching on the playbacks, which is perfectly fine, because that's in your flow. That's in the flow of, I'm in my flow of when I come on each week now, which means it's not scheduled, which means you don't know when it's coming. And if it aligns synchronously that you're supposed to watch in this moment, it's perfect. Seeing a couple of you guys on there. Hello, Daniel. And if it's on the playback, that's perfect. And I always love even to know that, because it's not about what my expectation or my mind or anything would want to grab onto. It's about what is right in my share of what I feel to put out. And that's where you guys connect to and feel the heart energy that I'm putting out. Feel a lot of times when I go straight into my full dragon and there's a transmission present or something that wants to be shared. And that's why it's always got to be in flow. I can schedule it for a certain day, but if I'm not feeling it, I don't come on and do it. And so you guys have started noticing that more and more in my lives. If you go back to 7 years ago and watch some of the early ones, how different the energetic presentation is nowadays. And that's meant to move us all forward into that, so that everybody's aligned in that space of unity, in that space of merge with themselves, and that knowing, that interconnectivity that brings magic to life. All right. So reach out with whatever you might need. Thanks for being here. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week for whatever we're going to talk about that day. Feel free to send questions. I always love diving into those, but sometimes these other stories that I get inspired with are fun too. Bye for now, everybody.